Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann, and this is the award-winning fan show. Well, thank you. It is Tuesday, December the 17th, and we are in the home stretch to Christmas. We're also in the home stretch until the kickoff for the 2020 IFL season. And I know home stretch Christmas, it's a week away, tomorrow. Home stretch for IFL kickoff, it's like 3 months, bro. But I'm excited for it. You should be excited for it too. I do. I truly mean that. And not just because I'll be a part of it, but I think a lot of just, you have to look at everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks. And of course, is everything that's been going on over this off season and what we've already been promised for next year. In case you missed it, on the last episode, we talked about how there has already been an announced expansion team for 2021, and that will be the Columbus, possibly Destroyers. But we'll see how that goes, because in all honesty, I would like them to keep the Destroyer's name. I really would. I think that that's something that you need to keep there. But sometimes rebranding and starting anew, there's nothing wrong with that either. So for me, it really just comes down to, what do they bring to the table other than just a name? And I think the Germain family is bringing a hell of a lot to the table. So that's good. Also, in case you missed it, the Frisco team that is the 13th and final expansion team for the 2020 season has been named the Fighters. They've also announced their head coach, a former coach for the Philadelphia Soul. So, like I said, a lot of great stuff is happening. I think that in reality, if you're somebody that is excited for the new season, you have every right to be. And on the same note, if you're somebody who's a little bit skeptical about the new season, then you have every right to be as well. And you can't please everybody. Trust me, I've tried. I've learned. You can't. But other than that, it's a great day. I think that clearly the wardrobe has changed a little bit. Decided not to go back-to-back days with the Shane Falco jersey, but I am back to normal as far as the head accessories. My 49ers hat. It was so painful to wear that Seahawks one for an entire episode, or 99% of it, whatever. Lane's going to complain about that. It's okay, though, because, as I said, there was a bet. I lost that bet, and here we are now with me back after I have owned up to that bet, because I am a man of my word and a man of integrity. So other than that, before we dive into headlines, is there anything that we need to kind of touch on again from last week? I don't really think so. There's been a lot that has been going on both with the NFL and then, of course, there was some breaking news today. So let's just go ahead. Let's get to the headlines, and we'll get this thing going here. So let me just double check one thing. And all right, and here are today's headlines. Headlines, of course, brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises, and they want to customize your world. And if you're somebody who wants their world customized, then you need to visit dynamiteenterprises.com. Or if you know what you want customized, you can always reach out to Ethan at dynamiteenterprises.com. But they do everything from hoodies, pullovers, jackets, and hats, whether it be beanie or build. They also do trophies, plaques, tablecloths, I think they even do medals now. They do backdrops, table runners, and really anything that you can think. I wonder if they can customize that. They probably can. So you should hit them up, get something customized, say that you heard about them on the Fan Show, And, they're going to get you taken care of, all right? Trust me when I say I love working with Ethan. I hope to continue working with him, even though I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota now. He's all about supporting local everything. I'm not exactly local, but I was at one time, so we'll have to see how that works out. But until further notice, Dynamite Enterprises has been a great supporter and, of course, partner of the F.A.N show. So, with that being said, as you see down on the ticker, breaking news, the LFL, formerly known as the Legends Football League, and before that it was the Lingerie Football League, has officially ended and restarted with a rebranding. They are now the X League, the Extreme Football League, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Fan Nation, but is that not literally what the XFL is? I know that they haven't really elaborated on what the X in XFL stands for. Kind of like there was a statement made years ago after WWE rebranded. So they were WWF, World Wrestling Federation. Then they became WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. And then there was a statement made years after that they said, the WWE doesn't stand for anything anymore. It's just WWE. But it does, though. It's World Wrestling Entertainment. So I don't know if they have like a similar mindset in regards to the XFL. Does it stand for Extreme Football League still? Or is it just the new and bigger, better XFL of yesteryear? Because former XFL version 1.0 was the Extreme Football League. So now you have the LFL rebranding to the X League, which is the Extreme Football League. I just feel like there's a lawsuit coming, some kind of gimmick infringement or copyright issue. But I saw the promo drop for it today. They were counting down to it, and I was like, wow, like this is sad. And I know some of the women that have played in the XFL, or I'm sorry, the LFL, and they're great athletes, but there were some issues there, and hopefully those issues have been addressed. But I don't know what to make of this. It's the Extreme Football League, or the X League, and then you have the XFL out there. It just seems like there's a lot of stuff that's very similar. But you know what's not is that there's only one IFL, and they're going to get a new logo next year. It looks pretty sharp, but I'll miss the eagle. And there is no longer an AFL right now. They filed for bankruptcy once again, and maybe this will be the final time that they do. So IFL doesn't have to worry about any kind of copyright issue or lawsuits or gimmick infringements like that. So they're in the clear. Very happy for that because I'm part of it. Also, Joe Burrow won the Heisman, as you'll also see down there in the ticker. Now, I don't follow college football as closely as maybe I should or even want to. I'd like to get more involved. But I heard all season long that he was clearly the front runner for the Heisman, and then he won. I don't know what necessarily it takes to win a Heisman. I just know that there's more guys that have won the Heisman that have failed to produce at a pro level than there are guys that were like walk-on, open tryout, Division III guys that ended up having amazing careers. So the Heisman is, I guess, it is what it is. It's a college award, a collegiate award for an outstanding player, whatever the criteria may be. I hope he does succeed at the pro level, though. There's a lot of teams out there that could use a Joe Burrow, but, I mean, you look at the previous winners. I wish Tebow would have gotten another chance at it. I really do. But you have, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and, of course, the jury's still out on those guys. So we'll see what happens with them. But the Heisman winner, I don't know. I don't think you can chalk it up to a curse like the Madden curse, right? Because there's not enough turnover to justify that, to support that. Guys weighing in on the comments here. Max says, gimmick infringement, is that a thing? Oh, Matt, you know it is. You know it is. Devin says he was originally signed as a QB at Ohio State. Yeah, I saw, and Ohio State has apparently tried to claim him as one of their own, and that's not making LSU fans very happy. So you guys can give me your thoughts on the Heisman winners. Does the Heisman mean anything going into the draft, or does it mean anything for a guy trying to find his footing at the pro level? Is it anything more than just a collegiate award? There, you guys can weigh in on that. Congratulations are due to Le Champion, Adam Lampert, who has won the 4th annual F.A.N Nation Fantasy Football League, sponsored by Undisputed Belt. So he's got a belt coming to him in the very near future. In fact, this will be the first time that I can actually go and present the winner with their championship belt. So I'm very excited for that opportunity, that moment. So congratulations to Adam. Give him a congratulations if you see him online. I know he's in the chat right now. So Adam, big congratulations to you. Congrats to Matt Spurk of Kraken coming in second. Well-played season. Jake Ekinov, another well-played season. And really everybody from the F.A.N Nation Fantasy Football League number 4. This was a really good season. I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I think 5 is going to be probably the best one yet, and we'll see. There has yet to be a repeat champion. Of course, I know producer Rob tried really hard to do that, and he came very close. He made the postseason this year, but he was upset in the first round. So, we'll see what happens next season. If you guys would like to be in on that, just wait and watch for the notifications. Devin says transferred after Cardale Jones was named the starter and Coach O gave him a chance at LSU. Means they were a really good college player. Doesn't translate over to the pros. See, and that's what I'm talking about. I feel like the NCAA has such a stranglehold on the NFL, telling us who's going to be great and who's not, and who is their guy and who isn't. And the Heisman is like their physical way of showing us, like, this is our guy. We present to you your future number 1 overall pick. And then when they go to the pros and they don't perform at an elite level, it's like, okay, so this guy got this award that you said he was going to be the guy, and now he's not. And they're like, oh, we'll get him next time. We got the next one for you. It just, look, I wish college football didn't have the stranglehold on pro football that it does, but it does, and that's the NCAA. Matt says there have been enough Heisman winners fail in the NFL to say it means jack squat in the NFL. I will agree with that, absolutely. Adam says, I can tell people that I defeated Kraken for the championship. Makes it even more epic. That's right, he is a Titan. Adam is officially a Titan right now. Devin says, I feel like the last Heisman winner to get Super Bowl title was Charles Woodson. And, that's something also that I notice is that these awards, they always seem to go to the quarterback. There's been a few running backs, but Woodson, he was a defensive back. And that's a position that I feel is really worthy and really deserving of an acknowledgement. Now, I'm not trying to rain on Joe Burrow's parade at all. I'm really not. I just think that the quarterback is that one player on a team sport that really is a team sport. It's not like baseball or basketball where one guy can make a huge difference. You're talking about 11 guys working together for a common goal against 11 other guys, and the quarterback just gets all the glory. I wish there wasn't an MVP award in the NFL. I really wish there wasn't, because it seems like it goes to the quarterback every time, even though there's defensive guys that are worthy of it, and it's like, oh, well, we'll just give them Defensive Player of the Year. It's like, but are they, or are they the most valuable player? It's hard to do on a team sport like football. It really is. But yeah, Devin, I'll agree with you on that. I think the Woodson argument is valid one. He's the last one to really have a great run in the NFL, a long run too. That's another thing to note. But other Heisman winners, man, the Check Down did one of those illustrations, and it showed all the past 5 Heisman winners, and then Burrows, of course, up front. I was like, I don't know if you want to put this out there, because those guys didn't really go on to have that great a careers. I mean, people in Cleveland are already calling for Baker to be done, out of there. So we'll see. I don't think a lot of these guys get enough of a chance. And I think if Joe Burrow winning the Heisman should prove anything, it's that these guys deserve more than just that first year as a chance. Baker is probably having a sophomore slump, right? That's a thing. But he went to Ohio State and he didn't work out. They decided to go with somebody else, Cardale Jones. And then he goes to LSU and he has a great year. And then he has this year, a phenomenal year. It's like you shouldn't let these guys be one and done based on where they were drafted. I mean, if the Bengals go and pick up Burrows, but they're not ready in other aspects of the game, special teams, defense, offensive line, they're going to label him a bust when he doesn't vastly improve their season. I mean, there's not much of a bar set when you've only won one game all season, so that clearly is a very achievable bar that you can exceed expectations there. But if they would have been like a 500 team and they're looking for their franchise guy and they go and get Burrow and he doesn't play at an elite pro level like they expected, is that fair to him to just be written off so quickly as a bust? I don't think so. I think he himself has proved that you have to give these guys, these kids, more of a chance than just that initial value of their first outing, their first season. So that's my take on it. Devin says, football is a system sport. These guys coming out of college are put into a stubborn system that doesn't let their skills they got in college shine. I don't know why there's not more correlation between college and the pros. Why NFL overtime is what it is, but yet college overtime is, one, more entertaining, and two, it just works better. I'm not saying that we need to go to college rule for everything, because I was at a basketball court here in Sioux Falls, and they have 4 different foul lines because there's high school, college, women's college, and then there's the pros. And it's just like, okay, like I get it, but is it really necessary? So, if you're expecting these guys to go from one level to the next without any growing pains, I think there needs to be a little bit more forgiveness, definitely, for sure, on that. So I wish Joe Burrow all the best. I really do. I hope that his career with LSU this season alone, and just knowing his journey, has really sort of broken a few molds and proven a few stereotypes wrong. But congratulations to him. Congratulations to Drew Brees, who broke the all-time touchdown record last night. It was 539. Previously held by Peyton Manning. He got 540 to break it. He tied it earlier in the night, and then he got his 540th to break it. I'm laughing for a reason. It'll all make sense in a minute. And then he got 541 to close out the night. Tom Brady sits at 538. But the reason I'm laughing is because it was like the most New Orleans referee dick move thing you could think of when Drew Brees threw what was a great play, a great improvising play, threw the touchdown to the end zone after running out of the pocket or escaping a collapsing pocket. And this was just before halftime, and throws it, gets the signal touchdown, but there was a flag just in the corner of the TV that you could see on your screen, and there's a celebration. People are cheering. They take the shot up to the suites where his family is, and they're going crazy. And then it gets called back for like the most weak ass pass interference call I have ever seen in my life. Like, if you're that ref, I don't know how you slept last night. I really don't. Now, he got the record. He did in the third quarter, right after halftime. But, man, I don't know how you throw that flag. I don't. It's just so ridiculous. And then, of course, they were talking about it in the booth, and Booger McFarland, who doesn't know anything. Personal opinion, okay? But seriously, he doesn't. He's like, oh, yeah, I see it a little bit right there. And Tessitore's like, for real? Like, you see that right there? And he's like, yeah, I see that right there. I see where he kind of extends the arm and pushes off. I was like, dude, you don't know anything. And then they come back from halftime, and they're back in the booth, and there's Booger. And Tessitore is just like, yeah, everybody seemed to say that was a bad call, but not you. He's like, no, I think it was a good call. And I was like, dude, like, you need to stop. So I laughed at that. The Monday night commentary crew is not a good one. Tessitore falls in love with a different quarterback every season. I hope he let Patrick Mahomes know that their relationship is over and that he's going to be courting Lamar Jackson until further notice, until Joe Burrow bursts onto the scene or some other quarterback that steals the spotlight from them. God, such a fickle group, the NFL media mob, isn't it? So fickle. So, yeah, that about sums up headlines for today. I got Bryan Hicks interview coming up. I thought it was great to have him, and we chatted a bit, and it was a lot of laughs. I think he's a good guy. I think he's in a good spot. So that interview is going to be a lot of fun. You guys need to stick around for that one. But favorite Christmas movie? There's my question of the day to you. I wasn't going to give you like choices between certain movies or anything. I just want to put it out there. You know, when you think of a great Christmas movie, like one that you can't not watch leading up to Christmas, as we are in the home stretch to Christmas this year, what's one that you just cannot not watch, either by yourself or with your family? And I know we're not asking if Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It is. But what is your favorite all-time Christmas movie? Is it Christmas Vacation? Is it Elf? Is it How the Grinch Stole Christmas? Is it Die Hard? Is it Jingle All the Way? I feel very grossly underrated Christmas movie. Jingle All the Way is one of my favorites. It really is. I don't think it's my favorite of all time. I think The Grinch is one of my all-time favorites. And then also Muppet Christmas Carol, one of my all-time favorites as well. I could watch that thing a lot. But really, just a Christmas Carol is a great one, no matter how many versions of it there are, how many times they redo it. But Christmas Carol with the Muppets and Michael Caine is great. And Elf is a good one, but sometimes I feel like it's overdone. I can't watch a Christmas Story anymore. I can't. They put that one on back to back on, what is it, AMC, and I can't do it. I can watch each Christmas movie, like Elf, Jingle All the Way, Christmas with the Cranks, the Santa Claus. I can watch all those maybe twice. After Thanksgiving leading up to Christmas. I can't do a day of back to back a Christmas Story. I just can't. I really can't. It wore out its welcome with me. Let's see what you guys have to say on that. Adam says, Burrow looks to be a good kid. I think he is. I certainly hope so. He also says, in the Heisman's defense, some of the guys who won it recently have done some pretty stupid things. Winston, Manziel, so forth. I will agree with you on that as well. Is it putting too much of a spotlight on these guys? Devin White says Christmas Vacation. He also says that yet the refs will call the most blatant PI ever on this. The Saints and the refs, this is a conspiracy. I don't know what the NFL would have to gain by screwing the Saints. I really don't. They'd have more to gain by screwing the Patriots out of going to another Super Bowl than they would out of the Saints, just for whatever reason. I don't know if there's some kind of history there that I'm not aware of that I'm missing, but I just don't see a reason why the NFL would feel like they need to continually screw the Saints. But I can see where people would get that. I really do. Let's see. Devin says, Jim Carrey Christmas Carol was well done. It wasn't my favorite. I like the Patrick Stewart one as well as the Muppet one, as I said. Adam says Mickey's Christmas Carol is a good one. That is another good one. It says Ghostbusters 2. Is that a Christmas movie? Are we going to have the Die Hard argument for Ghostbusters 2? Like, is that technically a Christmas movie? I don't know. We're talking about favorite Christmas movies for about the next 2 minutes here before we go to our interview with Bryan Hicks. But I am very curious to know what your guys' favorite of all time is. I didn't want to give you options because the second you give people an options, even 4, which is your max, right? Then people start saying, oh, we're just going to forget about this movie. Well, yeah, I kind of did. That's why it's not one of the options. So anyway, the 49ers lost to the Falcons. I'm not happy about it, but hey, it was a loss that really was meaningless, as meaningless as a loss can be. I know they say there's no meaningless losses, but you're still in the playoff picture. They still clinched a playoff spot, and they're still going to have to play Seattle one more time. So, I mean, in my mind, it didn't really change anything. It would have been nice to win, and if we win against the Rams, then we, clinch the division without having to worry about who gets it between us and Seattle. But this just makes for more entertaining football. It was just a sloppy game. I wasn't overly excited about it. Bears and Packers was a decent game. The Patriots-Bengals game, I couldn't watch. I couldn't stomach it. It was tied at 10-10 early, and I was like, this is really going to happen right now. I wish the Bengals would have upset. That would have been great. The Bills and the Steelers. Bills are now in the playoffs for the second time in 3 years. Steelers have some work to do. Texans will clinch if they win this weekend, their division anyway, and the Packers will clinch their division with a win on Monday night against the Vikings. I think that the Vikings are going to get a win. We can talk more about that on Thursday's episode. And then the Cowboys, they can clinch a playoff berth, their division, because that's the only way they're getting in, with a win. It's not a win or tie. You look down the list and it says Green Bay, or it says Minnesota gets in with a win or a tie. And then, of course, some other teams, they get in with a win or a tie, or this team's loss or a tie. Dallas, there is no loss or tie. They have to win, and it's against Philly. I bet they tie. Because that is how much these teams do not want to win that crap division. They're going to tie. Let's see. Adam says, it was more a New Year's movie, but close enough. I won't give it to you. I'm sorry. I've spoken. This is the way. You see, Devin asked it, you see the video of the Bengals silent. I did not. I should look that up, though. All right, guys. Well, you guys can continue to chime in on the chat here, but we're going to go ahead and kick this over for my interview with Bryan Hicks. I think you guys are really going to like this one. So without further ado, here is the new quarterback for the Oakland Panthers. Enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now back on the Fan Show is the new quarterback for the Oakland Panthers. He is Bryan Hicks. How you doing, man? Welcome back.
Doing good. Yeah, nice. Thanks for having me again. I'm becoming a regular.
I'm not going to complain because you have one of those extremely soothing Southern accents, and I don't know what my female listenership is like, but I'm going to assume they tune in more frequently when you're on.
Oh, God. You better cut that out. I don't even think I have an accent until I go up north or somewhere else and people say that.
And then you're like, oh, I have an accent. You listen to everybody else talk.
I'm just glad I don't sound like the people in Wisconsin or New York. Those are my two least favorite accents.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. So Jordan Endries, who you know, he doesn't have like a thick Wisconsin accent, but he'll let it slip every now and then, especially like when he's at an event and he's had one or five too many. I don't know. Those guys can tolerate their booze for sure, but yeah, he'll let the accent slip.
Yeah, that's their morning coffee up there. No offense.
Oh, but so we're in Sioux Falls now, and my wife mentioned to me, she's like, "Have you noticed that there's not really like I haven't heard that Dakota accent?"
Yeah.
You know? And I said, "Well, I think that's more like Minnesota, Wisconsin." But there's been a few moments where people that I work with or have been around for either extended periods of time or frequently since I've been here that I can tell that certain vowels or certain words they hang on to letters, and I was like, they'll let it slip every now and then, but it's funny.
It irks me for some reason. I don't know. I just don't like it. Especially New York. New York was my least favorite.
Oh man, I couldn't imagine.
And everybody there yells. Everybody's so loud. It's just like 9 in the morning. Everybody's yelling at each other. It's just not my kind of vibe.
Well, you're going to Oakland, and that should be a different kind of culture for you. No accents there that I'm aware of, but man, if there was ever a destination team in the IFL, I think it's Oakland probably, right?
Yeah, Oakland and San Diego are probably the two spots location-wise people would be looking at. I feel like I earned this. I paid my dues by living in Wisconsin for 4 months. I lived in a small town in Georgia for a couple of months, a bunch of different places, so I feel like I earned a nice little West Coast vibe, so I'm looking forward to it.
You earned that as well as to be their franchise quarterback for at least an entire season. I mean, you are a journeyman in every sense of the word, and I can't for the life of me figure out how it is that a guy that's so popular when it comes to free agent pickups has managed to land on so many different teams. I mean, it's like... who was it? Brandon Marshall. Dude is hella talented, but yet he could never stick with a team for more than a whole season. It drove me nuts.
Yeah, regarding that, I've just kind of bad luck, a combination of bad luck, bad timing, wrong fit, wrong situation. There's been a lot of times I've been somewhere where a vet would come in, and an old seasoned, very, very talented vet would come in, and I would be playing, so they would ship me somewhere else where someone else needed a quarterback. And so hopefully this is not that scenario. I don't really like moving around like that. So I haven't played a full season yet. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a full season under my belt and hopefully a successful one.
Well, I certainly hope so too, and I think you'll agree with me that the IFL looks stronger than ever right now. The announcement of the Frisco expansion team, which will be owned by the same family that has taken over ownership for Columbus, a little team called the Destroyers, which will be joining the IFL next year. And rumor has it that there are two other AFL teams that will be following suit, similar to what Columbus is looking to do. But you had your heart set on Texas. I know Austin seemed like it was going to be a possibility, but obviously Oakland's got you. But have you given any thought to Frisco? Because you and I have talked about how much you get nervous about expansion teams because you don't want to hop around anymore. But what's your vibe from Oakland? And have you heard anything from Frisco?
So Oakland's one of the first teams that reached out to me, and they really showed a lot of interest from the beginning. So that really set well with me, and to feel wanted is good, and to be somewhere you wanted is good.
Oh yeah.
If you have to really push yourself somewhere, you do need to push yourself at times, but if you really have to push yourself and over remind them and tell them about yourself, you probably don't want to be there because it doesn't seem like they really want you. And so that's something I kind of learned over the last couple of years. Regarding Frisco, they came out after I signed, so I kind of knew about them, but I wasn't really sure, and I just didn't really feel like waiting around anymore. So I just went ahead and did this. If it was anywhere but Oakland location-wise, that my decision might have not have happened, but it just seemed like the perfect fit, and they really liked me, so I just thought I'd go ahead and take that and go see how that goes.
Yeah, of all the expansion teams I've seen, I mean, I don't even know if you count Spokane as an expansion team, but obviously, Sam Adams is putting up and shutting up because he went and got head coach Billy Back, who from the NAL, played against him. And I think when it comes to San Diego, things could have been done a little bit better last year. Tucson really set a high standard for what an expansion team should be, but when you consider their ownership, Kevin Guy, I mean, how wrong can you go with something like that? So Oakland, a question mark, but it's got the feel like a team that knows what it's doing. Is that kind of what you've gathered from your talks with the coaches, the front office, and ownership?
Yeah, for sure. The coaches don't have much experience in arena, but they're really, really smart, really sound in football, and they've definitely done their research regarding arena football, indoor football. They're really open to suggestions. And they basically just want to win and build that family, build that culture. I think they've done a great job by signing a lot of veteran guys. A good mix between really good rookies and really good veterans. Bringing Lynch on board. There's some receivers, DBs, O linemen, D linemen that are coming in that are big time arena vets and have experience in this game. So that's going to be big for us. And I think we're right where we want to be. A lot of teams have a lot of hype around them. And not many people are talking about us, so we're just going to go in and get to work and see what happens.
It's interesting you mentioned the coach doesn't have arena or indoor experience because San Diego hired a coach that didn't have any either. And with Frisco, though, they hired the former coach for the Philadelphia Soul. So he has arena experience. I don't know what his indoor experience looks like, but my question would be to you as someone who's a vet who's been around a couple of different leagues and several different teams, looking at the IFL entering 2020 with 13 teams, do you feel like having coached or played for an IFL team is going to be something that guys are eager to put on their resume now?
Yeah, I think it's definitely becoming the mainstream league in the arena world. I think it's a better game rules wise than arena. I've always thought that it's more well rounded, more like outdoor football. But it's definitely going to be a big place. A lot of people are coming over from other leagues. Along with the amount of teams in this league this year, the league's going to be really, really competitive. Every single team, is pretty stacked. There's really good quarterbacks all across the league. You got McCollum and Spokane. You got Powell. You got, Green Bay's quarterback had a great year. Iowa's quarterback had a great year going to Tucson. So every team, has a pretty darn good quarterback at the helm, and every team has a pretty darn good coach at the helm. So it's going to be a lot of talent across the league, and it's going to be really competitive, and it'll be fun to see kind of how the standings shake out, with all these evenly matched teams.
Yeah, I think, and the talk, at least amongst my smaller circles, have been that we really believe this will be one of the most competitive seasons, and that the champion that emerges will be one of the best champions that we've seen, based on how competitive the field is shaping up to be for 2020. And it's really, I had Billy back on last week, and we talked, and I said, we got a taste of what 2020 will be back, 4 seasons ago, when he was the head coach for Wichita Falls. Amir Ishmael was a coordinator for Spokane. And then, of course, you had Kevin Guy had just joined the league with Arizona. Curtis Riggs, obviously, coming off another championship. And Corey Roberson hadn't come into the fold yet, but he got introduced later on. And then, of course, the Steamwheelers joined with Coach Ross. And Dixie, emerged as one of the top head coaches in the league. And now they all get to be in the same league. They're all head coaches right now. And I think that is going to be some of the most entertaining football we've ever seen.
Yeah, it definitely will. Those are all high-level coaches. And what's cool about the IFL is you got to coach well to win. It's not really like a matchup game like Arena where you can just go throw athletes out there and make plays. You really got to scheme well and, play well. And I also forgot to mention 2 quarterbacks, probably 2 of the best to do it is y'all's quarterback, Lorenzo. He's been around forever. Has been winning championships, putting up numbers forever. And then EJ up in Quad City is a good friend of mine. And he's been going crazy for the last 2 or 3 years and probably do it again. So definitely all across the league, there's talent and there's really, really high-level coaching.
Yeah, EJ's really good. I had a chance to hang out with those Quad City guys last season when I went over to Malign. And, it's just there's so much talent that was in the league last year, and it seemed like some teams were more stacked than others, but now they've kind of evened out, and there's been a lot of acquiring of talent. People were worried, well, the AFL, they're going to go and pick off all of our talent again like they did last year, and the XFL is going to do the same. But, I love the idea of some of these guys getting an opportunity with the XFL, but now that the AFL has folded, those guys are going to have somewhere, they got to go somewhere if they want to play, and so now kind of like brings that whole pool back, and I think there's going to be some really great players that we see in 2020.
Yeah, for sure. Every team, has got guys all across the board, and it's every team. It's not just those top guys. Last couple of years, it's basically been Arizona and Sioux Falls, and then Iowa was in there as well. But we kind of knew how the season was going to shake out at the end of the year. This year, I think it's up for grabs. Anybody can make that run and just has to stay healthy and get hot. So I think the talent across the board is great, and the more talented the players are, the more big name players are, and the more we can keep players in the league, which is a hard thing to do in Arena. Kind of build household names would be a big deal for the league going forward.
Yeah, every coach and team kind of has what I feel would be like their purpose. Maybe you'd call it something else as an athlete, but it's the fuel to their fire. Talking to Billy back, he's got something to prove. Wichita was on the outside looking in, despite a really good winning record the last time that they were in the IFL. Nebraska got that spot. They didn't, and then they go to the NAL and they run the gambit. They win a championship and they go back that next year. So he's looking to prove that they are that good in a league like the IFL. Not that there's a huge difference between IFL and NAL, but clearly there's some rivalries here that he didn't have in the NAL. Kevin Guy and the Arizona Rattlers, they're out for revenge against the Sioux Falls Storm after spoiling their attempt at a perfect season. Riggs is just kind of being Riggs up here in Sioux Falls, and then I know that Corey Roberson, he wants to continue to be a winning coach after getting Green Bay to the playoffs for the first time in 7 years, and he's going to be the reigning coach of the year, and you don't want people to think that was a fluke or, just the cards were dealt to you for once, and now you got to figure it out all over again. But Dixie, brand new team for him, and of course he's a 2-time coach of the year for the IFL, and he was hoping to get back to the promised land last year. So there's a lot of guys in positions where they have something to prove or they're out for something, and that really, that gives me the goosebumps, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun year. Like you said, Green Bay looks really scary. They were really, really good last year. Had a great year. And it brought back a ton of those guys from that same team last year. And that's something, when you can do that in an arena, when you can kind of bring guys back and have them play together, a second year, a third year, instead of having to, retool, reteach, rebuild that chemistry every single year is a big advantage. You kind of see it with Quad City. They've had that same core since I was there in 2017 with EJ, Q, and Rudd. So it's nice. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's rare to have a core, that you can keep around year after year after year in arena. And so hopefully teams kind of try to do that a little more because it only builds for stronger teams.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a lot of fun this season. And for you, like, if you're not playing or practicing, are you just going to be at the beach, like, every day?
Yep. I will be all around California. I've never been, so I'm really excited. Definitely going to venture around, and I will be living the life every second I'm not doing football stuff.
Well, hopefully it doesn't get too expensive. I know that's been one of the issues with California teams. The cost of living there is just crazy.
Yeah, that's a good thing about this game. And you don't get this in the NFL or the CFL. They pay for, your housing. They pay for the majority of your food. And so the expenses really aren't much expenses. You just basically it's on you, and the extra stuff you want to do is the stuff you pay for. Other than that, they kind of cover everything you need.
Yeah, I think that's going to be great for you guys. I don't know much about your ownership or much about your coach yet, but obviously I'm hoping to get to know him as the season gets closer. Oh, I do?
Marshawn.
Oh, well, he's part owner. Like, I mean, how often is he really going to be there?
Troy's the other owner. He owns San Diego and Cedar Rapids. So
yeah,
he's kind of been in the league and been around for a little bit. And then Marshawn is just, Marshawn's Marshawn. So it'll be cool to have him around. And he's a big name, big influencer in the city of Oakland. He does a lot for that community. So I think that'll be big for us in getting the word out about, the Panthers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a good setup for you guys, and I wish we played each other home or away this season, but, I mean, that just means that I have more reason to try to pick a bye week and maybe come in and catch you guys playing in Oakland. And then, of course, who knows about the postseason?
Yeah, I'm good on playing y'all, unless it's the playoffs. that arena's loud and you guys hit hard. So.
Well, I appreciate.
I'm cool with that.
I appreciate the compliment, man. I just do.
Cool with that. I was on a podcast a little bit ago. I told them this, but my last game in Green Bay was a triple overtime game in Sioux Falls, and that was the loudest I've ever heard any arena I've ever been in my life. They all had the little bells, and it was definitely.
Yeah, I've set a particularly high bar for myself in what I want to accomplish, being the DOC for Sioux Falls Storm. So we'll hope that everything goes according to plan, although it never does. But, we're looking to try to do something special up here. But, hey, man, you enjoy Oakland, all right? You have a great season down there. Really glad you landed somewhere that can be a little bit of a vacation from the craziness.
Yeah, it'll be about football. Football's first, but it's nice that when you kind of have that downtime, you're in a city where there's things to do and the weather's nice and it's not 10 degrees.
Yeah, I think it got up to 12 today here. So
no, don't even want to hear that. It's 50 here and it's freezing. Everybody's in jackets and pants and stuff.
All right, well, he is the quarterback for the Oakland Panthers, Bryan Hicks. And, man, I hope you have a phenomenal season. Thank you so much again, and best of luck to you guys this season.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and congrats on your job. Keep killing it out there. You're just getting started.
Yeah, well, we'll see where it takes me, but I can't wait for the season, man. So I'll see you on the other side.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
You too. Take care. And one more big thank you to Mr. Bryan Hicks for taking the time to join me on the show here this evening. Always great to catch up with a guy I consider a really good friend of mine, in all honesty. He's been, like he said, semi-regular on the show, and he's always good for conversation. Him and I have very similar personalities, and it's a lot of fun. Very sad we don't play Oakland and that I won't get to see him either up here at the Denny or down there in Oakland, at least with the Storm. But like I said, depending on how the bye weeks shake out as far as what will need to be done here, working on tour dates, of course, for the Fan Show Tour, and we'll see what the 2020 season holds. But, in all reality, I'm not getting my hopes up too high as far as having a bigger, better tour this first year here. I just think that that's unrealistic. Obviously, the Storm will need me, and it's a lot of a learning experience up here with the new ownership. We're all kind of new to this. I'm very new to this. So, if I only get to a couple of games on bye weeks and they're close by, like Bismarck or Iowa or Quad City, I'm not going to be overly disappointed by that fact, because this first year was very much needed to get things figured out. So I do want to thank you guys all for joining me tomorrow night for you Storm fans and people just fans of the indoor football world that maybe want to have another podcast to listen to. We got a brand new episode of Eye of the Storm coming your way. That'll be at 5 Central Time. And then, of course, if you're in the Sioux Falls area or if you'd like to make a little trip, we will be having our Storm holiday party tomorrow night also. That is at 7 o'clock at Blue Rock Bar and Grill. So remember, it's not official unless it's Fan Show official, and we are officially out of here. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you Thursday night, last episode before Christmas and possibly the new year, and then we'll be back better than ever for 2020. So until then, best of luck to you and yours, especially if you have one more round of your fantasy football playoffs. I know that some champions have been crowned, and there's a few that this is the last weekend. This is their championship. I actually did not make the championship for my other league. I got knocked out in the first round. But best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, of course, and remember, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.